Yes, okay. Okay. What the hell?
That you down for the cause, down for the cause, down for the cause. Not just the crowns and the rounds of applause, rounds of applause, rounds of applause. Rise up if you know that you down for the cause, down for the cause, down for the cause. Not just the crowns and the rounds of applause, rounds of applause, rounds of applause.
This is from the illa kid, coming in the realest sense, bringing y'all the medicine, amoxicillin monolith. Got a lot and bottled it and put it on a blotter hit. Gonna make it rain until you're feeling like a lotto hit. Dropping heavy bars, coming down from Mars. Man, I'm hoping that you're ready like a satellite is setting to receive this. Feed that is Jesus. Man, I'm on my grind and you know that I mean this. Rhymes, man, I bleed this like lunges to leeches. Bringing you the tracks with the dopest of features. Man, these rap cats are acting, tracks in the trash bin. Get a couple plaques and they back in the has-been. They get a little money but they never had a clue, cause they try to pay the dues with an IOU. They style for a while and they smile in the news, but they never stood a chance to walk a mile in my shoes.
Rise up if you know that you down for the cause, down for the cause, down for the cause. Not just the crowns and the rounds of applause, rounds of applause, rounds of applause. Rise up if you know that you down for the cause, down for the cause, down for the cause. Not just the crowns and the rounds of applause, rounds of applause, rounds of applause.
The time has now come for the ones in the crowd who will room from the womb to bring doom to Belial. Like the moon when it's out, they're removing the shroud, putting use to the truth in their hugest amount. Tear the roof off a coupe when they're boosting the sound with the fusion of the music that is moving the crowd. They're elusive like a fluid that'll move all around, kinda like a ninja that'll move underground. Last of the real with the passion and zeal, they unmask in the field with the maximum yield. The word is like a weapon that they grab like a shield. They're the only ones alive that the master has sealed. They know no fear, the chosen few, never growing old on a frozen pew. Molded with the innocence it grows into a predatory tiger that has gotta prey in his view.
Rise up if you know that you down for the cause, down for the cause, down for the cause. Not just the crowns and the rounds of applause, rounds of applause, rounds of applause. Rise up if you know that you down for the cause, down for the cause, down for the cause. Not just the crowns and the rounds of applause, rounds of applause, rounds of applause.
We're still here, the message of the gospel is real clear. What is man? Only the sovereign we will fear. No dollars or top offers are stopping the seal here. The altar of pop culture, we're not gonna kneel there. The masses are muddy and cruddy, to sin they are slaves. But rappers are hungry for money, attention, and praise. But it's temporary, it won't end well if we focus on entertainment while souls feel hell. Paved with the best of intentions, men fail. We got Christian celebs, where are the Tyndales? Our brothers are suffering in jail, while our greatest concern is earthly popularity and themselves. The secular world is savagely, ratchetly praising and promoting sin happily. We will not be defined by trends or apathy, but we rap to be voices for the king unabashed.
Rise up if you know that you down for the cause, down for the cause, down for the cause. Not just the crowns and the rounds of applause, rounds of applause, rounds of applause. Rise up, 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 rise up.
Okay, everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the Flat Earth or Biblical Earth Street Warriors Hangout. Today's topic is spiritual journeys under siege. And we're just going to be discussing some of our own spiritual battles and also discussing some things we can do to kind of fight it. And we're going to say hello to our panel. Say hello, panel. Yep, so, okay, I just wanted to start off by reading Ephesians. Okay, where is it? 6:12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day. And having done all to stand, stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness. So, yeah. Thoughts on that? Yeah, the helmet of salvation, the sword of the Spirit, which is the Word of God. Praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints. So yeah, we have to be praying for our brothers and sisters out there. I know last show we kind of experienced a little bit of discord, but it's okay. It's gonna happen. We're all human, and we're gonna run into stuff like that. So. Yeah. Well, obviously our words do definitely. They say sticks and stones may break our bones, but words will never hurt us, right? But words do cut very deep. That's why yeah, the word of God is the two-edged sword, so it cuts both ways. So if we're not living righteously ourselves, and we have a log in our own eye, who are we to try and call somebody else out if we're not living righteously ourselves? So yeah, I'm not saying we're doing that, but it's just something we have to guard ourselves against doing. We just. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Absolutely. We can never know what somebody has been going through that has led somebody to act like a certain way, and we don't know because they haven't shared it with us, or it's just something personal that's going on in their own life, and obviously we wouldn't know about it. So yeah, but I always try to take that into account when listening to somebody. You know. Right. Okay, so go ahead. Right. Oh, don't build me up yet. I might show the link accidentally and screw everything up. So they're saying your voice level is very low. Can't hear Marilyn. Asking now. How about now? I'm not getting a response. So I'm getting a feedback. Here's the panel. Okay. So I'll just real quick go over these 31 spiritual warfare scriptures to read. I'm not going to go over all of them, but just going to highlight a few of them. For though we live in the world, we do not wage war as the world does. The weapons we fight with are not the weapons of the world. On the contrary, they have divine power to demolish strongholds. Hint, hint, flat earth. We demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God. Heliocentrism, Big Bang, evolution, and we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. 2 Corinthians 10, 3 through 5. Be self-controlled and alert. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. Resist him, standing firm in the faith. And I feel like if you do this, but sometimes we just don't have the heart or the mind to do that in the moment, and we get in one of our little moods. Like, I'll be honest, like me, I've definitely been in a kind of a bad mood for the last couple of days, kind of been stressing out about work and everything, and so I've been allowing myself to be filled with all this resentment and this hatred, and I always try to stay in the Word of God all day at work. I try to listen to Bible radio and just try to meditate on the words, and just try not to take things so seriously, and I also try not to stress work. It'll get done, no matter, and it doesn't matter how long it takes. If I'm, so just little things like this throughout our day can like really kind of bring us down and kind of put us in a really sour mood where we kind of speak to other individuals in a bad way, and we don't really think about our words or our actions, and we're kind of just flailing around like like little children on the floor. So I don't know if anyone else has been experiencing this lately, but I've definitely felt like I've been under spiritual attack. I know when you get into the Word of God and you honestly give your life to Christ and do that, you're going to be under spiritual attack from demons trying to drag you back into your old ways. Sexual sin, immorality, just lying, cheating, like little things too. Like even if it's like lying about like your hours at work, or just cheating on something real quick, no big deal, nobody's gonna see it or whatever. So these are all the things that we have to guard against in ourselves. So it says, put on the full armor of God so you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. And it's there, people. It's real. Like, take it from me, especially with my experience with DMT, ayahuasca, all those types of hallucinogens and stuff, where actually you can remove the veil and see into the spiritual world that's all around us at all times. And I'm definitely, listen, I'm not advocating the use of these substances anymore. I feel like they are, they're designed to just get you in touch with demonic forces and whatnot. But I've seen them, and I know that they're real, and I know that they exist around us at all times, trying to influence us in our, our actions and our thoughts, putting evil thoughts in our head. And I don't want to, just be rambling on over here. So if anyone wants to chime in, just feel free. But yeah. No, not about the drugs. Just about being under spiritual attack, spiritual influence from spiritual darkness. Even if it's just something so simple as lusting over something or someone, or making an idol out of something as well. It's definitely something we have to be careful about as flat earthers, not to put the flat earth truth before the truth of the Creator. And for me personally, like, I'm not forcing anyone to believe in what I believe, but for me personally, it's about having a personal relationship with God through the Lord Jesus Christ, and praying and staying in prayer every single day, staying in the Word of God, so that we may be able to fight these attacks, even when we don't want to, even when we want to give in, right? Has anyone ever felt like that? Like, they just give in to this spiritual darkness just for whatever reason? Yeah, absolutely. It's great. Oh, okay. No, there's a little black thing in the way, but I gotta. Well, I stopped sharing my screen, so we're good. Anyways. Yeah, it's just behind in the way, so. But yeah. So. No, absolutely not. This is something that we all struggle with, and everyone has something to say about it. But the Lord is faithful, and He will strengthen you and protect you from the evil one, Not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, says the Lord of hosts, Zechariah 4:6. I just have a bunch of really awesome scripture up here. So yeah, you guys can't really see it because I'm not sharing the screen, but behold, I have given you authority to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall hurt you. Luke 10:19. And so yeah, we have spiritual authority over this darkness. We can bind demons. We can rebuke things in the name of Jesus. We can fight spiritual battles out on the forefronts, and on the front lines in the streets when we're preaching flat earth. We can bind demons, and we can protect ourselves out there from unnecessary attacks. And yeah, these are all things that this is not something that's like in theory, guys. Like this is something that we can honestly put into practice in every single one of our lives. Yeah, at night sometimes I have a hard time falling asleep at night because I feel them on me. I feel them trying to influence me and attack me, and and yeah, it's scary, man. And I just pray and then I pray for protection for my family and the whole household. And these are all things that we can do on a daily basis to fight back. Yeah, and you just see the devil. Dean Ortle put it a good way. He said the devil's just sitting there punching you in the face, and you're just allowing it. You're just taking it. You know, he's telling you you're not good enough. You know, you're too stupid, or you don't deserve to be happy, or you know, even if in regards to activism, you know, no one's going to listen to you. You're not going to change anyone's mind. You're just going to get laughed at. You know, all these evil, doubtful thoughts that creep into all of our heads. And that's why, you know, for me, I pray up before I go out and do activism. That's the only way I actually can do it, like, honestly, because I'm shaken beforehand, you know, because it's not me. It's nothing that I can do. It's something I can only do through courage and faith in the Lord. Is to be, you know, bold enough to face people and tell them the truth. Right. Yeah, he wants you to be afraid. He wants you to be afraid of everything that could go wrong. Like I was at lunch. Go ahead. Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to, I think I might have to stop the stream real quick and restart it, but let's go. Because, oh wait, it's, I think it's a Hangout, it's a Hangouts issue. Hold on, I'll fix that real quick. We just, before you start talking again, we just, speakers. Speaker headphone. I don't know why they're saying it. Microphones, speakers. I don't think it is. Still. Wait, no, it might be me. Hold on. Okay, hold on.
All right.
Okay, start talking. See if they can hear you.
All right. Can you guys hear me in the chat right now? Am I coming through?
Yeah, man.
Or Boxer, or anybody?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Loud and clear.
Yes, very loud.
Very clear.
Excellent condition.
I heard something Peak Level said for a split second. Well, I don't know. I assume
You're not as pretty as me, though. But you're loud and clear.
Yeah, Realm's good. Okay, I'm good. So,
all right, I think we fixed it. Okay.
Awesome.
So yeah, I was Marilyn. I'm sorry, real quick. Marilyn, say something, and just so they can let me know if they hear it for you too.
Make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all ye lands.
Great.
Boxer's good too.
Okay, great.
All
awesome.
good now.
Perfect. Thank you guys for letting me know. Okay,
Thank you.
Sorry, go ahead.
So yeah, I was talking about the Alpha Omega Productions video about demons and how they're not these sort of like mythical monsters how we think in our heads. They're really just people. They're persons.
Well,
disembodied persons.
I don't
Disembodied
think
spirits of giants, actually, the Nephilim.
Probably. Probably.
Yeah, that's I've been doing a lot of research with Dean Odell, all his stuff, and he's basically come to that conclusion. And it's not like he's saying, that's 100% that's the answer, but the spirits of the Nephilim, they weren't allowed because they were abominations in the eyes of the Lord, because the fallen angels are the ones that were created them, spawned them. So it was never supposed to be. So God punished them to walk the earth for eternity as disembodied spirits, and that's why they constantly torment us and attack us.
They travel through bloodlines, through certain bloodlines. They can affect certain kinds, and they bring others in too. So it's pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if the family has like an heirloom or something in the family that they hold dearly to themselves, and they just pass it from generation to generation, that thing could be spiritually attached to demons or something.
Yeah, it's funny because even like for instance, like the sins of the father, like for instance, like, so I was talking about this to my wife earlier about how, like, a lot of my spiritual struggles were my dad's spiritual struggles and were his dad's spiritual struggles. And then, like, right now I'm in a situation where, like, my mom and my sister are kind of almost going through the exact same thing, which is so bizarre, So it really does show how there is definitely some something to this. Like, a lot of people want to deny the spiritual side, but I mean, the more you look into it and the more you kind of become a part of it, the more it's obvious what's going on. There is definitely some sort of spiritual stronghold of things that we cannot explain. Like you said, it could be disembodied souls of the walking Nephilim, or something to that degree. And here we are, in our heads, we're creating them into these fantastic creatures, when in actuality, really all they are is just sort of using us to get out their worldly pleasures because they really want to be alive again, or they really want control of physical bodies again. Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty interesting stuff. So yeah, it blew my mind. That video blew my mind, by the way. Thank you for suggesting that.
No problem. Alpha and Omega Productions. I guess we could maybe play it real quick if you guys want, but no, it's I think I sent it backstage in the chat a couple of days ago.
Okay. I'll look it up.
Yeah, actually, if you just look in the Hangouts,
I'll look it up.
I'll post it in the chat. I'm gonna pull it up in my history real quick.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
Post it in the chat. There you go.
So, Boxer, we haven't heard from you. Do you have something to add?
You moved from, I had something to add, but I think we've gone past the topic.
No, go ahead.
I guess I'll address it briefly. What was it?
Putting on the armor?
There's the saying of you can't let things get to you personally. And then there's also the discussion about how it's how when you're doing this activism, you're subject to being insulted and getting hurt and just having to carry all that with you. There's also on the other side of that blade of possible sensitivity, because because there could be difficulty in your life, is also they're just saying it's when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Yeah.
In my personal life, I found that times I'll just be in constant prove you wrong mode, and like you can get to the point where it's like, well, when I'm out in the street, it's like, well, this person, it's impersonal, has nothing to do with you and me, it's just this topic, it's just the thing, and it's either true or false, and you either figure it out or you don't. And sometimes I find myself as a person just being in that straight binary mode, like, it is what it is, and I forget that people have feelings, that I might even have feelings that I might not acknowledge from time to time, and they'll maybe give me a blunt affect or something, and that's difficult on people. It's difficult probably on me. The degree is unacknowledged and acknowledged, but mostly unacknowledged.
Yeah. I think that's why it's important to think of yourself as a teacher and not a debater. You know, if we're teaching something, well, and somebody wants to argue back with you, well, that's because they don't know. They don't have the information that you do. If they did, they would be a flat earther. So, I mean, it took us a long time to come to this. We had to study and study. So, yeah, I think just the way we think of ourselves, you know, who are we? What position do we take in that? So if we're going to attack things like, oh, I'm going to go convince somebody today. No, I never even try to convince anybody. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
As far as spiritual entanglements go, this injury that I'm actually nursing right now is not, when I think about it, probably more than anything a reflection of my putting my desires and ambitions and interests and hobbies ahead of what is the mission of my father. And you know, and it puts into perspective really what, so my hobby, for anyone who doesn't know, is Muay Thai, and it's a kickboxing sport. And I was thinking about, well, first reflecting on this injury, and I'm supposed to have a fight in the summer in June, and
nice.
In all likelihood, at the end of this fight, I'll be in significant pain somewhere, and that would influence that could, I mean, it could result in long-term bodily damage. And this body is a gift given to me by Yah, and it's like, okay, well, what is this? Okay, well, maybe I should. Is there something else that would help inform if I take Yah's perspective on the situation and I investigate what am I doing? Well, I consider the fact that the fight on June 22nd would be on a Saturday, which would be the Sabbath. And it's like, okay, so I'd be participating in a blood sport for the entertainment of heathens on the Sabbath, and I'm taking this gift of recovery, because I had this injury earlier. Taking this gift of recovery from this injury that I just aggravated something that I had maybe 2 months ago.
Damn.
I'm taking this opportunity to train, and then train hard in order to pursue something that in all likelihood is not profitable, a profitable use of my body on a day that I'm supposed to be resting my body in all things. So that all kind of that's kind of put things in perspective, and for me.
I think you're thinking right about that now.
Yeah, absolutely. No temptation has overtaken you except what is common to mankind. And God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, he will also provide a way out so that you can endure it. 1 Corinthians 10:13. So.
Nice.
Yeah, it's kind of like getting hit by a car while I'm walking on the way to the bar.
Yeah, it's kind of guiding you in the right, in the path that you should have been going down all along, right? I've definitely yeah, I can definitely relate to that, where it's like God is like screaming out to us. God doesn't hate anyone; He hates the sin, right? So, and the sin is what is causing on a lot of occasions the spiritual attack that we're under. Not always, because, like I said, when you also come to Christ, you also are under spiritual attack as well. But when it's just really kind of nuts, how God always will kind of lead us in the direction that we should have been going all along, no matter what. So it's like our sins lead us away from God, and in this weird situation where we're living our own will, and then it'll kind of lead to destruction in a lot of cases. I don't know, in extreme cases, I know for me personally speaking, and then the Lord will remove you from that situation and put you in a situation that you were meant to be in all along, kind of like with this flat earth movement kind of thing. I don't know what any of you guys were doing before flat earth, but I was completely lost, into drugs, just going. I was dead on the floor. I overdosed. I was in the hospital for a month. I should be dead right now. And I've said this already in the past.
Hold on. A lot of us flat earthers are near-death experiences.
Yeah, and I'm one of them. I absolutely speak to that. My own testimony was that I literally was dead on the floor for 5 hours. I guess I had the bare minimum oxygen intake or whatever. So, because miraculously, I should have permanent brain damage from the amount of hours that I was not breathing. But miraculously, all I suffered was like, 60% or 40% loss of function in my right arm. So even to this day, I can't use my right arm fully.
Hold it.
No, I've been blessed.
Hold it.
Yeah.
I've got something now. There's two of you now. Okay, so Boxer and O. Timothy. What happened, there's something called hyperbaric oxygen therapy, okay? And O. Timothy, especially for you. Did I ever tell you about this? This is coming to my mind now.
No.
It's when a scuba diver comes up too fast, he gets the bends. And so they put the scuba diver into a big pressurized tank and fill it with oxygen. The oxygen gets into the plasma of your blood, and it will get to places where the red blood cells cannot go. In other words, any near drowning victim or vaccine injuries or fighting injuries, because the place that I went for my hyperbaric oxygen therapy, there are public places around. You have to look for them. Most hospitals have chambers, but they don't let the public use them. It's only when it's covered by insurance. And the only insurance coverage you get with hyperbaric oxygen is for diabetic wound care. That's the only thing. Isn't our medical system so corrupt and evil? So anytime you have deprivation of oxygen, you go into a hyperbaric chamber, it's going to put that oxygen back. You are going to get your arm back. Full 100%. I guarantee this.
Really?
Yes. So you go.
I was in the hospital for a month and I did physical therapy. And,
no, they don't do any. No. You don't understand. You will be in pressurized 100% oxygen. It will get into your plasma. It will. People who have strokes, near drowning victims, all of those, and all the major sports teams have a hyperbaric oxygen. What do they call them?
Chambers.
Thank you, chambers. Thank you.
Yeah, but that's when they're like really out of breath just from exerting themselves a lot.
No, dear. No, dear. It takes it. It removes all the lactic acid from your body.
No, yeah, it's oxygen therapy is legit. That it's right up there with like ozone therapy and all that other stuff.
It doesn't fix permanent nerve damage though. That's what I'm saying. My median nerve is permanently damaged, so I can't lift.
Yes, it does. I am telling you something here, and you are not listening.
I am listening. It's a miracle if it's possible.
Minute. Wasn't that one of the things that you were going to put on the show tonight? How to listen better?
I'm listening. Go ahead.
Oh. So if you want to get on YouTube and type HBOT, capital letters, or hyperbaric oxygen therapy, and start watching all the videos. I did a total study on this before I became a flat earther. I know a lot about it. I've talked to doctors about it. I've toured hospitals. I did it myself. So it might take a couple of sessions. It's like $140 an hour per session. So you find one in your area and you go to it and you do it. I'm telling you. Your nerve is not dead, and that's what the same thing with brains.
Here's the one thing, though. I don't know if it takes this into account, but they also had to remove a piece of my forearm muscle because it had rotted out. It rotted, so they had to cut it out. So I know muscle doesn't grow back, unless you're saying this hyperbaric chamber does that as well. But half of my forearm muscle is gone, so that's another reason why I can't lift a quarter of my hand.
Actually, oh Timothy, I don't know if you know about this, but you can regenerate muscle. There are ways where, I guess, when the muscles it gets to the point where it builds up like lactic acid and it stretches and it tears, it'll actually expand and thicken over time, and eventually it will build more muscle.
And that's how muscle is built. It's torn and repaired. torn and repaired. That's how muscle builds.
Yeah,
Kind of
but
like
this
a
was
self-regenerating. Go ahead.
This is not just muscle, like tendon from working out, where you tear it up from working out. This is like they literally had to physically cut out like a half of the muscle. So I'm not saying you guys are wrong. I'm just saying.
I mean, she does have a point though, because like the oxygen therapy stuff does things to like where your DNA will actually like function better. So you can repair things that are probably impossible to repair just because they'll be alive for the first time.
Or he's not.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Yeah, true
What'd
that.
you say, Boxer?
I'm showing it on the live stream, so it's not. You can't see it in the Hangouts, but I'm showing my arm, so you can see half of the muscle is removed.
Oh yeah,
So,
that's like my dad had.
So it's like a big indent there.
Yeah, my dad had part of his calf muscle removed from an injury that he went through.
And I can
And
only
Yeah, that's what it looks like. It's
move
like
my
glass.
hand. I can't lift my fingers up. I have to.
Yeah.
I'm
So you're
gonna
probably
tell you-
missing tendons too.
Tendons in the forearm and also the median nerve damage too. So.
So
Yeah.
I'm telling you something.
No,
that
that'd be great. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna look into that. Thank you so much.
Stop.
Go ahead.
The mainstream medical community has no idea what they're doing. They probably.
And I can back that
have-
up because they just found out, like for instance, like dental, like doctors, they when you have like a cavity in your tooth, like you have a hole in your tooth and it's black.
Yeah.
They say, oh, you got to remove it. It's dead. Did you know that tooth can regrow and heal itself in your adult years? Did you know that?
Yeah.
Wow.
See, they just found that out now. And doctors for years were telling you as soon as it gets like that, it's dead. You toss the tooth. But you could regrow teeth. That's crazy.
That
Like, we're
is
not taught that.
insane.
So there's a lot going on with our bodies that we can even like the medical industry is probably set up in a certain way to limit its discoveries, to like hold back understandings. I'm pretty certain, but yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious that we don't really know what's going on, especially when you
do
look
some limping around the house real quick. So
yeah, while this
Okay.
guy's limping,
Yeah. So.
we don't know what's going on. He's limping. This guy is
Let's
missing
stuff
part of
Boxer
his
in a
arm.
hyperbaric chamber. He'll be good to go.
Yeah. A little disclaimer: we are not giving medical advice. We are not doctors. We are not. This is a legal disclaimer. There, we're just talking about it.
Boxer, all the sports teams have these hyperbaric chambers, so it will heal twice as fast. That's why the sports teams have them. If they have an injury, they sprain an ankle, they go in the hyperbaric chamber because to a sports team, time is money and lots of money. So that's why they have the hyperbaric chambers. So
It's true.
So Boxer, you go find one and you get in there for your leg and get your knee healed up.
Now you break that door down and you get in there. You climb in that thing. Turn it on.
Come here so I can smack you.
No, Marilyn, I agree with you 100%. Like the medical industry is totally fraudulent. It is totally. It's just set up for us to fail. That's the
Right.
point. They want you. They don't want you fixed. They want you relying and dependent. That's what they want.
Well, think about
I
it.
agree with that. Yeah.
You go in there with some kind of an acidic condition that they call cancer, and what they want to do is make you more acidic by putting poison inside of you.
Radiation. Here you go. They're talking about pre-radiation therapy before you even get cancer. They're talking about go get chemo before you get cancer now. That's crazy. That's insane. They're trying to kill you. It's like it's obvious at that point. You're healthy. What are you gonna do? Stick yourself in a radiation chamber? Or what are they injected now? I think.
They already do that to our food. They irradiate our food.
Yeah. A lot of the mainstream packaged foods, like the frozen foods especially, it's all irradiated in your freezer. So.
Well, I agree with you, but I'll say one thing. When my kidneys also failed, and they put me on kidney dialysis, which was absolute hell on earth. I mean, they literally take all your blood out of your body and they run it through like this machine that cleans your blood for you because obviously your kidneys can't do it or whatever. So It was the most life-draining. I felt like I was being sucked on by a vampire. Yeah, so I will say one thing about the medical industry or whatever, the hospitals or whatever. They did kind of save my life, so I'm not gonna talk crap about them.
Of course.
Because they saved my life, and I would be dead on the floor if it was not for the angel that probably kept me or whatever from passing. And I'm now convinced that there was an angel or something had to have been keeping me alive.
Yeah, I mean it was God's plan, obviously, for you to be around. So yeah, I feel you on that, like 100%.
Yeah. And I can't talk entirely talk trash about the medical industry because they did save my life with kidney dialysis. Not saying if I ever get cancer, I'm definitely never going to get chemo or any of that other crap.
Timothy.
Yeah.
Timothy, when did your kidneys fail?
When I was in the hospital for the overdose.
Right.
With my arm.
So, did you ever have any kidney trouble before that? No. What was happening was they were pumping you full of drugs that have side effects, and that's what clogged your kidneys in the frickin' first place.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
Yes, honey. Look, I do a kidney and gallbladder and liver flush every year, whether I need it or not. I can get rid of gallstones by a simple procedure. It's all in how the things that you're doing. And this is turning into a medical show, and that's fine because everybody needs to hear this stuff. Everybody needs to know this stuff.
Yeah, who knows? Okay. It could have very well. I mean, I don't know because I was obviously
that's
unconscious.
Exactly what happened.
I was dead at the time. So.
Right, and when you wake up, they say, "Oh,
your kidneys failed."
No, they said, "Oh, we saved your life," and you're there awake, and you believe them, but you don't know what they all did to you. They could have taken you way down and brought you half of the way back, and you're grateful. Okay, everybody, they're the same thing. Okay, I'm alive. I'm grateful. But you don't know what they did to you, that they didn't have to do. People that are brain dead, their brains do not deteriorate. Did you see your arm before they cut it out? Did you see the dead tissue yourself?
Oh yeah, my arm was open for like a whole 25 days before they did the surgery on it because they had to drain it out of all the dead fluids and everything. So yeah, my arm was still open 3 weeks into the hospital. I could see it. I could see my muscle inside my arm. It was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. So yeah. Yeah, it was bad, man. Grace to God that I'm still alive. I'll tell you, so even by the grace of God, even despite the ineptitudes of the medical industry, I'm still alive. I'm still here to bring you this weekly live stream, and we can discuss more about spiritual battles and everyday life. Like we were supposed to. So it's not that I'm not saying that, but we can just kind of get it back on topic here.
All right, back on topic.
So if anyone wants to discuss like some spiritual battles that they go through every day or whatever, just feel free. I've shared some of my story already, so kind of try to open everyone up to be a little, more honest or whatever.
I was waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning. For a couple of weeks a few years ago, and I also rebuked the evil spirits, and that gave me great victory over that.
Amen.
So, and I tell people that when you're having this struggle, that you have to say it out loud. You can't just think it. They have to hear this. The evil spirits cannot read your mind, so you have to speak it out loud. Okay.
Oh, okay. This is this is something important. Thank you for clearing that up for me because I had been a little confused about that. Because sometimes I will just think it in my head and kind of write it off and let it go and just kind of thinking it's my own mind kind of producing these things. Therefore I won't have to. But you're right because it does say in the Bible to say it with your mouth, confess with your tongue. And that has power and authority, and I guess it's your vibrations of your voice, I guess you're saying, right?
Well,
probably.
Demons,
yeah.
Because that's what it says. It's like he gave us like a power against them that we don't even fathom. Like we don't even know what power we have over them, but apparently we have some sort of power, you know. That could be what you're saying, like a vibration frequency, something like that. Yeah, totally.
All I know is it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Steve? What do you go through on a daily basis?
Oh yeah, man. I'm constantly battling. Like for instance, like I've been trying these new methods of like building like willpower and stuff. So I did like the cold shower thing, and whew, I did that today too. It was really rough.
That works.
I went colder today than I did yesterday, and I've just been tipping it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm doing whatever I can, because like, you know, part of me, like I get lazy, or like I'll start thinking like it's hopeless, or like, you know, like I'll sit down and I'll start thinking about all my problems, and all of a sudden I don't want to do anything because it's just like there's so much. And then like that's why I was like watching that video today. It kind of woke me up a little bit, because I was like, man, you know, I think I'm holding myself back, but maybe it's not really me per se that's holding me back. Maybe I'm just allowing something to hold me back, and allowing it to convince me that I shouldn't do these things, and I shouldn't. So that's why I've been trying to like make those steps of like building up willpower to see if I can battle it that way. But you're right. Maybe I need to be more verbal and just like say it out. Maybe I need to try that more, because I haven't really been trying that per se, you know. Like sometimes like I'll be like, you know, like I'll talk to God and I'll basically say like, no, leave me alone, you know, like something to that degree.
Or, why, God? Why?
Well, yeah, that too. But you know, it's more usually like, you know, commanding like the power of God to like help me conquer this issue that I'm dealing with. And but yeah, you know, so I've been trying like all these different things, thinking that it's me, you know, like, you know, something I'm not doing right, you know, trying to step up my game, like my brain fog. I was like, man, I've had this brain fog. I was like, maybe it's my diet. Maybe I need to start eating more flax. And, you know, and yeah, maybe that stuff is true. But I think a lot of it is what's keeping me from doing those things to improve myself. Why haven't I been improving myself? So I'm starting to kind of see that the more I like seem to like be, like you said, the closer I get to God, the more I get to like perfecting myself. It almost seems like those barriers just seem to pop out of nowhere, you know? So, you know, like right now, like I'm dealing with issues with like, you know, my car and stuff like that. Right. And it's just like, you know, it's getting even more stressful because time is ticking and I have until the end of the month. And it's just like, I got to get my emissions test, and you know, so I'm like scrambling with all that and then letting the stress overtake me and trying to keep myself from breaking down. So, you know, I guess my thing is like, you know, trying to find the strength, you know, in myself, you know, to know that I can overcome. So like maybe I need to be more verbal and, you know, try something, you know, a little bit more drastic.
Yeah,
punch
you know what else
punch the
helps?
devil right in the face. Just punch him right in the face. Stop it. You know,
roundhouse.
I rebuke you.
Yeah,
know?
but it also helps. What I do is I sing hymns.
I sing to God all the time. I make up songs. I
worship.
I make up songs and I speak to God, and I speak about like how much I love and appreciate my life and everything that He's given me and all that I've learned and come to understand and what I continue to learn and hoping to learn. And you know, so I constantly keep a dialogue. I don't know if you guys do this, but I keep like a constant dialogue, you know, constantly throughout the day. So it's like,
oh yeah,
you know, from when I wake up,
pray without ceasing.
Yep. It's like a
so
constant
Steve,
prayer,
I have a question for you, Steve. Do you have any death tattoos?
Let's see, death. I mean, I guess
like skulls.
I got skulls.
Maybe you want to consider augmenting them in some way. Maybe
I've been covering some of them up. I just haven't had the money to pay for the rest of the arm. But I will. I'm going to get around to it, you know.
I think that would help.
Myself, whatever I can reach, you know.
Just put some skin on those tattoo on the skulls. Put skin on them and a smiley face or something.
Happy faces.
Yeah.
Turn me to clown face. I hate clowns.
But
I do have negative tattoos on me too that I just can't wait to get covered up.
Well, yeah,
but
it's part of your identity. Yeah.
Right. And a lot of the conversation I have with God is like, God knows me and understands everything I've been through. So I look at my body and sometimes I feel ashamed, you know, to God, and God has reaffirmed in me that, you know, what is in the past and I've done in the past, I will continue to stand for and pay for those sins. But where I am now and where I'm going forward now, that's part of why I haven't even been getting tattooed, because like part of me doesn't even want to further do the harm. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like, you know, causing pain within myself, because I think about that scripture where it talks about one of the giants, the Nephilim guys, who goes out in the woods and he's like cutting himself with rocks and he's crying out into the night or whatever. And I'm like thinking about that. I'm like, maybe it's gonna upset, you know, God, if I go and cover up and do more further harm, trying to balance it out. I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Well, why don't you get a bottle of makeup and see if that makes any difference? No, don't smile.
No,
really?
I mean, makeup, I don't know.
No, just cover over the ones that are you know,
Wait.
like death.
What were you saying, Timothy, that maybe it's Maybelline last time?
Yeah, no, when we belong to Christ, the enemy never has the final word over our lives. So we are secure in God's hands. Press on, courageous and free, never held back by fear or defeat. The battle belongs to the Lord, and he has the final victory. So it doesn't matter what's written on your body, man. Like, I know, like, it.
Well, that's your opinion, isn't it?
Well, yeah, obviously it's my opinion, and I don't think it's right to get a tattoo in the first place. But if that's your past and you can't run, you know, what are you gonna do, right? Cut your skin off, like, you know, like if when you have the money, get it taken care of.
Yo.
But like no, but like seriously, like he can't do anything about it, Marilyn. You're trying to make him feel like he has to get these things off his body or else.
It's not her really saying that. It's not really her saying that, because I feel those things. I'm struggling with that. That's my inner struggle myself. So, you know, the fact that you guys are bringing it up, you're actually bringing up both sides I've had with myself. Like
I'm not
I felt
saying,
the way Tim has, and I felt the way Marilyn has, both in the same day, in the same breath. You know,
right,
so
I'm suggesting that maybe the makeup would help, and he should try it and see if it makes a difference for him.
You mean like guyliner?
We're not going there.
Boxer, you want to go there? Guyliner?
Yeah.
Thoughts, comments?
I'm already pretty. I don't need eyeliner.
Amen.
The consideration might be that Moses, before he led the children of Israel out of Egypt, he was living his whole life as an Egyptian. And I don't know how much body modification goes into Egyptian culture, but he did shave his head bald, and that's something you're not supposed to do. But nonetheless, he lived that way, and presumably after coming out of Egypt, he carried on in the proper way afterwards. And there's that consideration. Oh, dude. There's three considerations. Okay, there's that one. There's in Acts. There's I think Peter comes across an Ethiopian eunuch who's and it says eunuchs aren't supposed to. And this is a physical abnormality, a physical change put on a person's body to allow them into certain social functions, like in Ethiopia. I'm guessing in order to be a royal attendant, you would have to be castrated. I mean, in any case, the law says that a man too smitten in the stones cannot join into the congregation, and yet, but that sort of thing after the Messiah seems to be a something that can be forgiven once one accepts the Messiah as the perfect sacrifice, and thereby join the congregation. And then, I think,
isn't that what like born again is all about? Because it's like, you know, that's what it is. It's like you shed your old self, and then God creates a new heart in you, a flesh, and then you go on living differently after that. So it's like, as long as you change who you are and you make the change and you make the switch or whatever, it's like whatever, you know, because you're doing what's right now, you know. That's what's most important, rather than continually doing bad or whatever. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
which is kind of what I'm telling myself now. Why I'm like, okay, you know, that was my past and this is my future, and I'm trying to, like, you know, make that switch and just break that, you know, past from me altogether. The problem is it's, you know, on me. So
yeah, there are people who are in the world. I mean, there's also the saying, if your right hand offendeth thee, cut it off. But there's people in the world who go to church every single day, have not a tattoo on their body, they pay their taxes, they do the thing that they're the good American citizen. Every single way, they're completely disinterested in even the first page of the Bible and anything in the middle. They're more interested in appearing right
Oh, you're cutting out.
I think I get what you're saying.
before men themselves. They don't because there isn't, or whether or not. So I don't know. It's hard to explain what I'm saying here, but it seems to my mind. Well, I have tattoos, obviously, and I had a different experience with my tattoos and my feeling about them. I have Stay Nerdy tattooed on my knees, and I have a toad and a peony and a bunch of waves and water Japanese stuff tattooed on my arm. And I intended at some point in my life to fill my arm and my body with tattoos. But upon consideration, the law says, don't on thy flesh. And it's like, okay, well, I guess I'm not going to do that. But it says in the principle of grace is that the things that you didn't know were violations of the commandments in the past. You can't be held accountable to those. And once you come into knowledge of that's what the blood of Christ is supposed to atone for. But once you come into knowledge of the truth, there remains no more sacrifice for sins. I mean, Paul says, shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? God forbid. But that's not even your issue. You're not, I should get more tattoos in the name of grace. It's like, you're fine, man. Like, maybe there could be a potential belief that there's spirits tattooed into your skin, but I think that is even idols are called dumb idols. They're not really gods.
Right. It's how we perceive them, or
something like that. I'm sure there's some reality to it, like
because the Solomons, the whole thing with the Solomons and the demons or whatever, the demons of Solomon or whatever, talks about how like people have to take it into their lives for it to affect them or something like that. It has to like envelop their lives or be a part of their lives.
It's like a vampire you have to let in. Oh, the other one, I think so. Yeah. The circumcision. There's a debate as to whether or not the Gentiles would have to get circumcised, and it's like, well, they said no, you don't have to get at this point for any more blood sacrifices. You're in the situation. You can't. He allowed you to be reborn. He woke you up to give you new life, tattoos and all. He didn't say cut your tattoos off. That'd be if I didn't say cut your foreskin off, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
You're probably in the clear, man.
Yeah, I mean,
sure.
If I'm still like having dreams where God's like affecting me and touching my life, then obviously I still have that connection. So I feel like it's a good thing still. So if I didn't feel that connection with God, then I'd be like, there's something wrong. I need to do something, So I do feel like I still have that,
It's kind of like the alcoholic who leaves the bottle of whiskey sitting there on the shelf where he can see it. Why wouldn't you just throw it out? I mean, then you're not.
Well, I did cover up most of my risque tattoos, so that's good.
My gosh, there was worse ones. Oh my gosh!
I told you I wasn't a perfect person. I mean, before Flat Earth, I really didn't care too much about my physical self. You know what I'm saying? Like I thought I was gonna go out into space one day, like I had like crazy delusions of grandeur. I thought I was going to get a flying saucer and fly away, like some ridiculous insanity. That I think about it now and I feel like stupid. Like, wow, that's some cult thought mentality going on there. I was so sci-fi. It was disgusting. It was disgusting. Wow. I would watch like all these crazy sci-fi. What's the biggest thing in sci-fi? It's like the self-perpetuation of self-godism. Like, you could be your own god, or, so that was like consuming me. That was my perspective. I thought I was going to become a god at one point, so
there's a lot of people like that who wanted to be astronauts or whatever. So, yeah.
So, yeah, it's horrible. I think about it now. I just feel stupid. Like I woke up from this weird cult dream and I'm like, oh, I was doing that. Don't show me pictures of that. I don't want to remember that guy. Like, holy crap. That's in vain. I think that was a sin. I'm not sure. I'm working on all my word phrases. There's so much going on in my mental stasis that I'm just trying to like chip away, you know, like every day I'm making little improvements, but yeah, it's a process, I guess. I'm just glad that a lot of things that I got over really quick, and I'm really happy about that. Like as if, you know, things that would have been hard in the past were easy after Flat Earth. You know, there was a lot of transitions that were really easy. Like, so, you know,
Yeah.
some are harder than others, but I'm continually moving forward. I'm happy about that.
Cool.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, we all, like, and we're not like. That's the thing. We don't want like people out there who's listening to like, oh man, like what did I like? What like start thinking about what they have done in the past and like, are they still? Because it's like that's what it's. These are our old selves, right? Like completely changed. Flat Earth has brought us to a personal relationship with our Creator. Like, but like Marilyn, you don't have any tattoos, and I don't think you were a former drug addict. So you want to just quickly speak to all the women out there, or maybe like the you know the people that are, you know, in your age range, because it's a lot different for me, Boxer, and Realm, because we obviously are young males and we probably lived a more heinous lifestyle in a lot of ways than Marilyn, who's probably, you know, only got like a traffic ticket or whatever in the last 30 years. But I don't know.
That's not true.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Marilyn, would you like to explain your spiritual journey and how you got to this point in your life?
Well, I did drink a lot when I was young. I was molested at a young age, and so I had a problem with promiscuity. So you know, I'm not sinless. Right. You know. But let me see. I guess the problem that women would have with doing flat earth activism would be that they're not supposed to be out there on the front lines. I mean, there aren't many of us. Me and Karen, I guess, and
Roxanne.
Roxanne, yeah. But you know, we're not in the majority for sure. But
you're on the tough end of women.
Yeah, I give you props for that, and I wish, you know, I could be there with you, helping out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, but it's fine. 2 people, a married couple that came to my last meetup is going to come on Saturday and help me with this event I'm doing. So I'm so excited for that. So 2 new people coming, and then they're coming out. So that's great.
Sweet. Yeah.
I did some activism today. I want to tell you about it. Can we switch on to that thing now?
Yeah, sure. Guys, hit the like button out there. Give the thumbs up and share it out. Go ahead, Marilyn.
Okay. So I was on the computer and I'm there. Well, I usually on Facebook, I liked making sure that if I friended anybody, that I looked at their profile. They didn't look creepy. They didn't have a lot of weird stuff on their Facebook pages and whatnot.
Right.
Because I used to just, you know, accept everybody's friend request. But then I would get these messages from all these guys like, hey, baby, you know, and I'm there, well, wait a minute, I didn't want to do that. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to just, everybody who friend requested me, and I had a ton of them that I never responded to, as long as they had one common friend, I accepted the request. And I went right down the line. And you should have seen all the private messages I was getting today. And you know what I put on that return private message? I would put up a video of my one of my activism videos, and I would say, I teach flat earth, know the truth. And I put my video up there. And then if they still came back and says, oh, you know, give me your phone number or something, I would put on the Flat Earth 101/begin. I'm there. If you don't know all the stuff on this video, I want nothing to do with you. So, I mean, you have to get tough with them. But I actually got a couple of them who said, wow. And, you know, like some guys from the Middle East, they're saying like, oh, Quran says Earth is a sphere. I said, oh, no, it doesn't. You know, and I would have conversations. Oh, I'm going to look that up, you know, like, so I actually got, I would say maybe a dozen to like think about it. So I'm saying that's a victory.
Nice.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That is some pretty interesting activism too, because it's like they're really gonna try. They're gonna work a lot harder, you know. Like I'm gonna
yeah.
do some research. Like, so it's like, yeah, man, you got them in, you know. So anybody come back a flat earther yet? Not yet.
No, well, it was just today. I don't know.
Oh yeah, yeah, okay. So yeah, hopefully, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was awesome. I had a good time doing it.
Nice.
Who used to do the? Oh, it was Mikey Smith, where he would just like call, just do random calls.
He calls the schools. He calls the radio stations. Yeah.
Stations. He's called NASA. That's right. He's actually called NASA, and talked to one of the scientists there, I believe, for a short period of time, and then they cut him off and refused to let him call back, or they put him on a list or something. So every time he called, they were like, "Oh, it's you again," you know. No, it's good. Like I try to do alternative activism myself. Like I don't play video games that much, but lately I'll like occasionally play that Roblox mobile game. And what I did was I put my name on there, flatearth101.com or 101.com, but they know .com, you know.
Yeah.
And then I would just play, and then they would be like, "The world's not flat." I was like, "Check the website, take a look," and then they'll look at the website and then start talking smack. But it's funny, I got a lot of them to think. I had this one kid going for a while. He was just like asking me questions, you know. So I was just like, "Oh, well, you ever heard of this? No. Have you ever heard of this? No." And you know, you could tell they're like, you know, probably because it groups me in from 13 to, you know, to 20s, 30 something or whatever. Because I'm like in my 30s or whatever. So I thought that was cool. So like I get to like school the young kids about flat Earth while I go around and play video games with them. So
yeah.
So that's like another kind of activism, you know, something different.
Well, and that's if you go by the 3 rule, you know, they have to see it 3 times to take it serious. Well, that could be one.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. That's what I think. I was like, well, you know, at least they see the name running around in the game, Flat Earth 101, you know, so they're like, huh, you know, this guy's Flat Earth, okay.
Yeah.
You know, at least that's getting planted there.
Right.
Younger the better.
Right. And that's the thing, like when you're out doing activism on the street and somebody's walking by and trying not to look at you, say the words, Flat Earth. At least it gets in their ears.
Yep. Yep.
Or the earth is flat. You know,
Yep.
they have to hear that. That is a actual step to accepting it. So
I agree.
do not stand there. Do not stand there silent and not say anything for fear of offending someone. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah. Living in fear.
Yeah.
Yeah, because people are inspired or not inspired by the example that you lead by. You know what I mean? If you're just sitting there like you're looking like you're scared, then people will be like, "Oh man, this guy really doesn't believe in what he's trying to push it." You know what I mean? So when you're out there engaging people, it shows them like, man, well, this guy's got a lot of conviction, or you know what I mean? Like, maybe I'll really look into it. This guy seems passionate about what he's doing. You know, I was just in the laundromat the other day, and I was giving the whole spiel to one guy, and then I turned around to this other woman, and I asked her, I'm like, hey, would you like some? And she's like, no, thank you, because she heard me talking to the other guy, and but she's like,
is that the one who didn't want her picture on?
No, I was some crazy Spanish lady. No, but she's like, I'm good, but good luck. You're very passionate, you know. Like, so she saw like that I had passion about it. She wasn't interested, but it's fine because you're leading by example out there as well.
Right.
Exactly, exactly, and they already think you're like LARPing or pulling a joke. So you know, if you got the fire in your heart, it's gonna scare them a little, but it's gonna wake them up. Like when I went out to Moody Bible Institute, right? So you know, we had like, you know, a lot of spiritual people there. It's a Christian school, and you know, I'm talking about flat Earth, but I mean, I had the fire that day. Like God was working through me, and yeah, during that whole conversation, you know, this lady came up and she's like, wow, she's like, you really do believe this? And I'm like, I not only believe it, I know it. And she just looked at me, and it was like this brief moment where I could feel the tension, like she knew that I was telling the truth, you know?
Yeah.
And it just something about that. I think that's way more powerful than just being timid. Like, yeah, I kind of believe it, you know, or yeah, I know it's true, you know, you got to say it like you mean it, because if that, sometimes people need to see humans experiencing emotion to understand that it's emotional, that it is important, you know. Right. So the emotion is part of the punctuation, you know, it's the exclamation point of what you're saying. So if you don't have that, then it's just a sentence with nothing at the end. It doesn't mean anything.
So you guys tell me, what do you think would be more scary? Doing street activism where you're meeting 1 or 2 people at a time, or standing in front of a room of 500 people and giving a speech for an hour? Which would be more scary?
Well, depending on what you believed in, you know? But yeah,
and
no,
what street you're standing on?
Yeah.
Say what?
And what street you're standing in?
Yeah, what neighborhood?
I'm asking for a reason. I want an answer.
Yeah, obviously.
I want an answer.
The 500 people is definitely more intimidating, obviously.
Yeah, I would think so.
It would be a lot more harder because it's all the focus all at once. Yeah.
Exactly right. They're all looking at you.
Yeah, there's I think there's definitely an agenda from the satanic infiltration of the flat Earth to kind of like try and just make it look more legit, right? So they take one of their lower guys on the totem pole and they stick him out there doing activism, and he doesn't really believe in what he's doing or whatever. You know, and he just and now when you search for flat Earth activism, that's all that comes up is just these controlled people out there doing it. Because
did you notice those searches when you do searches on YouTube and you see what comes up? And I can put in the exact name of one of my videos, and I'll be halfway down the page.
Yeah,
even if you switch over to filter by upload date, even they'll still
really.
Yeah, it's gotten that serious.
And
yeah, actually, Logan Paul comes up on flat Earth activism in the searches. Like, what the heck does Logan Paul have anything to do with activism?
That's
Nothing.
Just crazy.
But he's on the first page, you know. So, go figure.
They are trying to stamp this out as hard as they can now, and it's like 2019 seems like it's going to be the year of reckoning. Either way, you know, either they're going to completely shut us up and silence us, they'll probably kick us off YouTube entirely. Nobody who mentions flat Earth in a video on YouTube will be able to, you know, survive. But it's happening, it's coming, and I think we're coming to a point where we are doing a lot of damage out there, and I think a lot of people are, like, we never get to tell like the fruits of our labor because we just hand people the card and leave, right? Nobody ever really emails us or does this or that to like let us know that, hey man, I woke up because of you. But there's people out there that are going to the website and that are seeing it and that are starting to, you know, even question like, man, like maybe the Earth, it could be flat, you know, I don't know it. And then now it's like it seems like there's like this. And I hate this whole idea of, it's not going to happen in our lifetime, so we might as well just sit back and be in it for the long haul.
You don't know that.
Let's just be in it for the long haul, right? And let our grandchildren and their grandchildren continue the fight. Well, okay, well, yeah, obviously if that's what it takes, but I don't think it like in the days of the internet and you know how much reach we could have. You know, even if and that's why activism is so important, not just like 3 or 4 people doing hangouts and like trying to, but like, no, let's get like more people out there on the streets. Just like, man up.
Yeah.
It's like, that's it's time.
Go ahead, Box.
As this gets, as they start censoring it on the internet and it doesn't stress me out at all. It doesn't bother me because the way I trust all this is in the Most High's hands. And again, I have a very apocalyptic worldview on this whole thing. It's very terminal.
Coming soon, you think?
And well, I think Revelation 12 happened already. And the way as the system puts up more and more barriers to entry on this, I think that's an individual's responsibility. Like the system has made it more difficult for you to opt in because you took your time opting in, and like. Maybe you have to try a little harder than someone who was paying attention in 2017, who was paying attention in 2016.
That's a good point.
We wrestle not against flesh and bone, principalities. It's not, and even those principalities aren't even really YouTube. Those principalities are the fortresses within the souls of every single person we come in contact with. And that person has responsibility to wrestle with their own demons and, maybe sort their priorities out. The writing's on the wall. How much more degenerate can things get? How much more ridiculous? And if someone has not had that moral feeling of this is irreparably wrong and I want out, if they didn't get that feeling until in 2015, they didn't get it in 2016, didn't get it in 2017, didn't get it in 2018, they should, it's just the divine justice of Yah's timeline making the game fair and level. That's how I see it. So it's gonna get, people who are supposed to make it on the ark are gonna make it, and those who aren't, well, they're gonna be monuments to the awesome power of and vengeful, destructive nature of the Most High when affronted, and to such a great degree. Most people have to be wiped out, man. That's how this goes.
Well, I kind of agree with you with the the fact that they waited too long. It's going to get harder and harder for them, because right before this whole flat Earth awakening, I distinctively remember many upon many spiritual situations that I had encounters with all these weird things that kind of led up to the moment. And I could have easily brushed them off and said they were nothing, but because I was paying attention, one thing led me to another, to another, to another, to eventually finding out about flat Earth. So I do hear what you're saying. I feel like, I have friends too that have gone through things around the same time, and to them they just ignored it and they moved on. And for me, I just couldn't ignore it. So I think there was something to that. I think they're getting the clues just as much as we were, and then some of them just haven't keyed in. Now, I do also believe that some probably just haven't gotten the clues because of other factors at play, but there's definitely people out there that did miss the boat, and they're sitting around and convincing themselves that there is no boat. But the less and less boats that there are, they're going to start panicking once they start realizing that they're not looking. I think that's when stuff hits awry, and they're going to be like, "What's going on?"
When I first started waking up, it was so easy to figure out Sandy Hook, to figure out Las Vegas, to figure out
because nothing was censored.
Which YouTube censors were all obviously real and exactly as described. It was really hard. You got the joke there, because if I say that they weren't real, then they'll shut. So it was impossible. It was so easy. I would have to just go to type in event, go to upload date, set to the newest, and then throw in the word hoax or whatever, and then I'd get the breakdowns, and it'd be simple, and they'd be deleted within 3 or 4 days, but they'd still be up for 3 or 4 days. Now, they just don't happen. Like, your whole channel will get shut down. And if you're trying to figure out something as simple as Las Vegas today, you're not going to get it. And all the things you have to unpack before you get to flat Earth, man. So,
dude, like the recent situation, I wouldn't have found out about that hadn't I gotten the video privately from other YouTubers. Had I not been in the loop, I would have never found out about it. I would have never found out, So it's weird how that works now. It's like, it's even more subverted than it ever has been. And I think it's just going to get worse and worse.
It says in the end times exactly that. People will wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. This is not going to get better. The trajectory of the end time story, the trajectory of the whole situation from Genesis to Revelation, is a trajectory of constant degeneration, of entropy, from decency to chaos, from the gold head of the statue to the silver, to the bronze, to the iron and clay.
Right.
Yeah.
There's not going to be some renaissance. There isn't. The only light at the end of the tunnel is not at the end. It's like you pick up the light and you put it into your soul by way of the Messiah, and if you don't pick it up, that's the only force against entropy that exists in this situation. And things just start accelerating at the end. And if you aren't on the boat, if you aren't ready to pick up that light, well, this is how this goes. And this isn't even like the best kingdom to be destroyed. Like, this is the wackest kingdom. I think at least Babylon has Babylon had higher pop culture than Ariana Grande or Bad Baby. I would hope. This is what's being destroyed is just it's solo cups compared to goblets of degeneracy.
Good point.
Yeah, it's high time that something happens, because it's literally everywhere you go, everywhere you look, there's people or things trying to encourage you to sin, trying to encourage you to, to lust or to desire things, or, we're human, right? So it's like we live in this wicked, messed up, disgusting world where everyone's completely blind and dumb, and they have no idea that they're really living on a flat, motionless plane.
How nice it would be to get married. How nice that would be. To be able to get married, have a plot of land, and just have normal...
That's my dream, man.
Reproductive intercourse with the person.
Yeah.
Heck, I'd even pay taxes.
I would too, obviously. And I've had this discussion with... I used to be an anarchist, and I've had this discussion with Zoom, who still thinks anarchy is a good thing. And I'm saying, man, it's like... I was bringing this point up to Steve, is like... Yeah, I was bringing this point up to Steve, and I was going, you pay taxes to Caesar, like, because he's got this whole hang-up with that, saying that in the Bible, and that's why he doesn't believe in the Bible, because it's saying to pay Caesar his due. Well, Caesar had the armies, Dave, So you go ahead and try and see what happens if you don't feel like paying taxes to the government and having their military protect your land. It'll just be it'll be open season on your land. That's just it.
Render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. That's a very careful use of language and highly contextual.
Right. It's not saying love it. It's not saying, give him all your... It's just saying give him what he's due for protecting your land and your crops and your family. You know what I mean? And Dave would...
From himself.
Right, and Dave would probably come back and say, I can hear him saying, well, we should have our own weapons, we should be able to protect our own land. Well, what if Russia decides to come and invade your plot of land, Dave?
What's the difference?
Yeah, then we saw...
What's the difference?
Your kids will be speaking Russian. So that's what...
Well, I mean, it's all the same... It's all the same government, Russia, America. It's all the same... Yeah,
that's another thing, man. Like even the normie conservative, like the liberals just going completely insane. But even like the normal conservatives, who conservative young men, they want. Okay, I would like to think that at least topically, at least during the Trump election, they thought all we needed was a president. All we needed was a Caesar who would bring back the American dream and American values, and then we could have
American industry and everything too.
Then they get their Americana Caesar, and he's just basically
a shill for
Secretary of Israel. And Israel's best friend is Hollywood, and Hollywood and the music industry are just using the media to corrupt the very possibility, and the marriage courts, the very possibility of having an American dream. Even if America became a different government, who would be available with whom to have that life with? And they're cashing out. They're tapping out. Unfortunately, they don't understand the bigger picture, so they think they're gonna have to. So they still don't get it. But like there's a terminal. There's a soon coming expiration date on this whole thing. It is completely done. It's out of stuff to offer anybody.
Yeah, transgender space communism. Transgender space communism. I like that.
And it can't even provide that. All it can do is sell that.
Boxer, what was your experience from today? You said you had an activism story or something.
Oh yeah. Do tell.
I'm not sure if I elaborated on this in another chat, but there was I ended up going to the conference on faith and science, and there's a lot of details I know I didn't go over, but.
You want to just round out the story real quick for the audience and just start from the beginning?
Yeah, the conference on faith and science was a conference apparently funded mostly by the Jesuits and hosted by a non-denominational but vaguely evangelical Christian community center adjacent to ASU that helps on-campus ministries collaborate or something like that. So they decided to have an event in which they had quote unquote scientists and Christian thinkers together to lie together on stage and proclaim to be intelligent, and to reconcile non-existent contradictions between science, the scientific paradigm, and the Christian paradigm, which don't exist, to reconcile contradictions that don't exist by their own word, but do exist, but they have to reconcile things that don't exist. Okay, anyway, so at this conference...
Sorry, what was the name of the organization again, real quick?
The Conference on Faith and Science. And the organization was called the Campus Christian Center. And they posted like Catholic Catholic astronomers, Catholic cosmologists, Baptist biologists, people who worked on the Genome Project, who oddly enough they were talking about like how human gene engineering could bring about a new period of like extended life and things like this. And the
sounds
logo,
like the Aldous Huxley Brave New World or whatever.
It's like Brave New World, but like all the components of Brave New World being pitched by Christians. It was absolutely blasphemous and disgusting, and the whole room of people just nodding and clapping, and these are students and grown adults and all Christians, a room full of Christians. And that's another thing. Like, that's another struggle I have. Like, if these people have we don't worship the same. I don't know who these people are, but me and them ain't the same people. But at this conference, I incidentally, again, there's no coincidence on Flat Earth, I sat right next to the Catholic astronomer when I found my seat. And I turned to him and I turned to the guy to my right. I look at the pamphlet, he's one of the dudes. And I go, hey, you look like you're on the sheet. He's like, yeah, I'm on this. I said, what do you do? He says, I'm an astronomer. I said, whoa, man, it's crazy. So
you're talking about Father Paul Gaber, I think. I have a picture up on the screen right now. Yeah, Vice Director, Vatican Observatory.
I'm not seeing your feed. Does he lack a chin and have a grayish stubble beard? Where his chin should
Looks like it.
Yeah.
Looks like it.
Like a mole.
Oh, Jonathan Luning. Is that him?
You should look like a mole and have glasses.
Yep, that's him.
Yes.
Director of Center for, what is it? Astronomy or whatever? Astrophysics and planetary science. Yeah.
For all that, he wasn't very smart at all. So
I'm looking at the live stream.
So I asked him some questions. Oh yeah, it's really cool. Have you ever heard about the firmament?
Oh, right there.
Yeah, the firmament. Yeah. So I started just hitting him with these questions. Like, do you know of any experiments that evidence that the Earth is moving? And I just grilled him on these things, and he got real uncomfortable, real scared. There's a lady next to him who seemed to be slowly perceiving what was going on and kind of looking at him like, wait, why can't he answer these questions? Right? She had a degree of, she was his colleague, and she because she wasn't directly in the conversation and did have a sort of pensiveness and intelligence about her eyes, I could see that she was doing some self-reflection herself.
Right.
With a little bit of comic glee. Because I don't think that this was her department. She was just a colleague of this guy. And she's like, I guess I can't really. But what's going on with this dude? So I asked him, so no experiment. So I would ask him again, he would keep rambling on. I'd say, but yeah, none of that's an experiment. Can you identify an experiment? And then when you do this long enough, no matter how eloquent you are, eventually things start, when you're at an impasse with another person about something of any substance, and you want to keep making a point, eventually it starts trending into the passive aggressive territory, because you both know you're at an impasse and someone is losing, in a zero sum situation.
Right.
And then I was like,
and it was him.
And it was him. It's like, all right, but and he could sense that I might be on some flat Earth stuff, and I think he deduced it eventually. It was like, yeah, well, and the conversation ended. I didn't want to hand him a pamphlet because that would be too on the nose. I had some secret plans for the end of the conference. I didn't want to get outed or anything, so I just let it go. And then, as the conference proceeded, two presenters for that part of the day. The first presenter was a Catholic Jesuit guy who gave a brief intellectual history of the quote unquote Christian church, and it was just a bunch of Catholic occultist Freemasons like Pascal and Newton and Galileo and just all the great, you know, astro sodomites of the Catholic Church.
Right.
And then the few Christians who were like from like the early church, you know, if you want to call it that, like the 4th and 5th century AD, those guys were like, they had all these quotes saying like, oh yes, the stars and all science gives testimony to the obvious existence of God. Obvious God exists, obviously. And then I type in my phone on like in big block letters so he can see it from a distance, all geocentrists. And I turn it to him and he looks at it, he just shudders. He goes, I can't do it. Like, no, just leave, like, see if I can, he rides like this. And I'm like, okay. I would leave this guy alone. And then it continues. And then
wait, did you say they were open to geocentrism?
I said they were all the scientists from the 1st century to the 5th century who were Christian scientists.
Yeah, they were.
That all said that it's obvious that God exists from looking at the stars. They're all geocentrists. And I took note of this, and I showed him that I took that note. I showed him like with the phone, like, hey, look, they're all geocentrists, and he shuddered, and he was like, I can't handle that.
Yeah.
Said, okay.
Tycho Brahe.
Tycho Brahe, for example. Yeah, they didn't cite any of his work. And when the next person who was like some sort of NASA acolyte with man hands, despite being a woman, and she gave the story.
Was it Georgia Dunstan, National Human Genome Center? No.
Oh no, Georgia Dunstan. She seems sincere, if a little crazy.
Okay.
She admitted. I don't know, but it was another woman.
Okay, white woman.
White woman.
Leslie?
Georgia Dunstan did have a mustache. Leslie, maybe?
Leslie Wickman, Professor of Engineering, California Baptist University, Director, American Scientific Affiliation. Eastern Star like Witch.
Probably. I'm going to say maybe it's her. But she cited the first Bible verse she cited was Psalm 19:1.
I really hope these people are watching and they just see themselves being outed and made to look like fools. Go ahead.
They had a bad day, man. That day was terrible. I got messages saying like, bro, that guy was looking at you with fear in his eyes, bro. Like, it was crazy. So,
fear and trembling.
Yeah, bro. What's that? Soren Kierkegaard? Oh, no, Soren Kierkegaard referencing a biblical verse. Anyway, so the Psalms 19. She references Psalms 19:1 in her PowerPoint, and she says the heavens declare the glory of God. The skies show His handiwork.
Right.
She left out firmament. The guy's just like, he's just sick of me, and he's just squirming through the whole presentation next to me, and I'm doing the best I can. So like I keep looking over, like, seriously, looking at this, and then she uses that translation, and then she uses a King James version translation of something else at the end of the lecture, indicating that she intentionally chose to omit firmament from her presentation. And they would have had a Q&A, but the president of the student body, who was also emceeing the event, and other people knew that I was there, and they caught on to what I was up to. So they shielded they shielded him from the Q&A. And then when the guy had to do when the president of the organization, who I think for all intents and purposes is just a nice guy in an unfortunate situation, who's aware of the Illuminati and stuff, I think he's kind of cucking for Satan for some reason. Right. I don't understand what his deal is, but he just couldn't keep it together during the closing prayer, but we got through it. But it was like pulling teeth. And then me and the team just started handing out as many of the flat Earth script, the 240 biblical proofs of flat Earth, and the pamphlets that are just the biblical flat Earth pamphlets and trifolds. That
nice.
One of the Nathans, Nathan Thompson.
The Bible says flat Earth brochure. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
And then the guy who ran the event brought himself and a cop with him, trying to get us to stop. Well, he did not just try to get us to stop, but he got me to say, okay, I'll stop. But understand that you're bringing a centurion after me for bringing out the truth for just bringing out ultimately just Bible scripture at a Christian conference. So consider how this looks from the perspective of God, and like who who is more akin by analog to the apostles?
Yeah, who's on the side of right in this situation, right? Who's the Pharisees?
And it's like he had this. It was weird seeing a grown man be afraid. Real weird, bro. But yeah, ultimately we got the job done. We continued through the rest of the. We were able to to ride it out, have some conversations with some people at the tables, and he kept trying to find ways to get the people to try to say like, oh yeah, these guys making us uncomfortable, but they were perfectly happy to talk to us, and it's just sneaky behavior from people who know they're in the wrong, who call themselves Christians, who are not my people. So I don't know.
Yeah, these are biblical scholars, right?
Biblical scholars, people running Christian events, people claiming to be the representatives of the Christian community on campus.
They know the root word rakia means something solid and beaten out. I mean, they know the Hebrew.
These people know, and they're
liars.
I think they just want to keep cashing in on money and sodomy.
They just keep feeding the system, sucking the devil's, you know what, and
phallic symbol,
right.
Obelisk.
Right, and keep doing their little phallic ceremonies and their rituals and their rocket launches and all this other nonsense. I'm telling you, man, this conference on faith and science, bro, that was a major victory. Mad props. Congratulations on hitting that up, and because this was their response. This was them sweeping the flat Earth conveniently under the rug, saying, for anyone trying to get into anything remotely to do with the Bible and cosmology or whatever, they're just trying to honeypot them and lead them right towards their lies, basically. So props for you being there, man, because that was I feel like that's a huge victory, no matter, if you reached one person with that truth. So. Yeah.
These people they felt safe playing this game for so long, and the money's not even worth it anymore. The money is like worth 1/10 of what it used to be. So why are you doing this for money? Why are you doing it to gain status in this society, this fallen trash society?
Well, it says free. It says free event, so it looks like they're just spreading propaganda.
Jobs. Their whole jobs,
yeah,
their whole careers. Like, what are these people doing? Like, what they can't. It can't be for the money. It can't be for the things because the products suck. It can't be for status because who cares about gaining the esteem of a bunch of
It's just to keep paying. It's to keep paying the monthly loan on their Ferraris.
On their PhDs. They don't even get. These people don't have Ferraris.
Yeah, they probably do. They probably spend all their hard-earned extra, money that they've saved up to buy a Ferrari and feel like, like the cool scientist dude / Bible believer. Like it's like who are they serving? They're serving money.
These people have Lexuses.
But what's going to happen when this comes out? Those people didn't George H.W. Bush say? He said it out loud. If they found out what we were doing, we'd have to run down the streets or something. He said something like that. So if this, when most of the people find out about this lie, and all these people that were at that conference are perpetuating this lie, they're going to be tarred and feathered.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to have more than their Ferraris not paid.
It's disgusting. It says one of their mottos for this conference on faith and science is pursuing science and Christian faith for human flourishing. Who's flourishing exactly? If you're muddying the waters of truth, especially in regards to Scripture.
Yeah.
Where is the promise of using technology to flourish in the Bible? That's the ye shall be as gods.
Right. For human flourishing, for human apotheosis, more like it. For alchemical mind brainwashing to try and get this collective hive mind type consciousness where everyone in the world is like one. It's like the Borg. It's like you'll be assimilated. Yeah, they're like
logo for the event was a big, but besides the globe for that one, but the pre-event was an eye, a single eye, with a atomic symbol overlaid on top, forming a perfect Star of David
of course.
The iris,
right,
with a caduceus wrapping around in a circle, weaving its way through the valence orbitals of the the hex.
Is that on that?
I'm looking for it.
Can
I'm
you
sure.
screen? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Look up light, liberation, light, life, and look up sacred code of light, life, and liberation. Also light. Light had nothing to do.
Sacred code of life,
light,
light,
and liberation.
Liberation. Okay. Oh yeah. Big time.
And then the guy in front of me, who was at that, who was also at that one, he was an older gentleman. He seemed to have some stake in it. I said, "Hey, you ever notice this? All these occult symbols on the front?" He's like, "Oh, well, yeah. What are you trying to say?" I said, "Well, that's the Star of David. I mean, it was really the Star of Molech, and this is a star. This is a big Illuminati eye, and there's a lot of and this is this caduceus, which is the which surround the phallic symbol of Baphomet." And it's like, "Oh yeah, well, you know, it's also the Star of David is a Jewish symbol." I said, "Yeah, well, you know, like the synagogue of Satan."
Yeah, the Star of Remphan.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like, "Oh, well," I said, "well, it's the Jewish. Jesus was." I said, "Well, besides the fact that he wasn't, even if he was, like, the Talmud says that Jesus is burning in hell, and that's like one of their central books. He's burning in feces." Said, "I don't know what book you're reading. You need to read different material." He said, "No, I'm reading the Talmud."
Excrement or something.
Yeah, he's burning in feces in hell, and he was the son of he's a bastard son of Pantera, who was a Roman general who had.
Yeah, we all know the Talmud's basic lies.
And the man says, "I don't know what you're reading, but the Talmud doesn't say that." I said,
"How would he know?"
The Talmud, and it says that. He says, "You need to read different material." And I said, "Well, the Talmud also says you can have sex with children." And
and you can kill a Gentile and not be held responsible for it.
So why? If the Holy Spirit leads you into all truth, why can't these people hear the truth?
Look, it says
answer that question is rhetorical.
Well, yeah, they don't have the Holy Spirit.
It says on their site, it says learning the sacred code of life, light, and liberation, the legacy of the Human Genome Project, and the promise of quantum biology. So they're obviously trying to find a way to merge technology with human biology and you know, anatomy and physiology, and they'll, you know, it'll start with. Go ahead.
No, I was saying that's what it says in the Bible about, like, people who get trapped, like once they receive the mark, they can't escape. That might be it. The main, you know, what the afterworld matrix they're going to create or whatever.
Right.
But the guy's lecture on. It was lacking in substance, and the only thing that was demonstrable, it was just cartoons. I think most of this stuff about achieving godhood through apotheosis and quantum computing and AI, I think most of it is fluff, like
right.
It's moving people to imagine in their hearts that this is possible.
Right, to lust after
and that's enough.
Right.
That's enough.
Well, who's to say it won't be possible, though, too? Like, you know, like, but then, like, God might stop it before it, you know, comes to fruition, or it does come to fruition, and that's, you know, the 7-year tribulation period in which Satan will be able to reign whatever his kingdom, the New World Order will actually, you know, be, you know, here. So.
Maybe.
But this is just disgusting, because... and you're right, like, they're just trying to put it in your mind, like, yeah, I can, eventually, they're like trying to, like, say, forget the Bible, forget God, let's make ourselves God, and let's learn life, light, and liberation through quantum biology and all this other nonsense.
I'm going to pick up some food, I'll be right back.
All right, but yeah, great job, man, that was awesome. I flat smacked the laundromat. That's about all I did. I kind of feel like a failure now compared to Boxer, just for this week. But
Boxer is very bold. I think it's awesome. I think it's really awesome. And we all, you know, all be inspired by what he does. But I don't know that we're all equipped to do what he does.
Yeah.
So,
not necessarily, because Psalm 18:39 right here, for you have girded me with strength for battle. You have subdued me under those who rose up against me. You know, and also, have I not commanded you, be strong and courageous. Do not tremble or be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. So
that is true.
just when I pray up, when I'm shaking like a leaf before I go out and do activism, and I'm scared as all heck, I pray up and I put on that armor, and then I can do it, you know. And that's everyone out there who is scared to still go out there and do it, or just you don't have to go out anywhere. Just live life. And you meet someone new, you're online buying something or whatever, just drop, hey, you know the earth is flat, you know the line about the shape of the earth, or hey, do you know that, can you give me your 2 best proofs you live on a globe, or hey, did you know the Bible says that the earth is really flat with a dome over our heads? Like, just bring it up in a conversation. Like, you don't have to be like handing out business cards and like bullhorning people on the street, or, I mean, yeah, all those things are awesome and great, and eventually you might get there. But all it takes at first is just like, I know we all been working on our family, right? We're all working on our family, and that's something that's not going to happen or change overnight. You know, that's something we have to stay patient with. But yeah, so I just can't encourage you guys enough to just get out there and just start talking about it at least. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. There's nothing to be scared of. You'll find that all that fear that you had right before you brought it up in public, it just melts away, and it becomes like this, like, you feel like you're actually like on a mission to deliver this truth to that person, and yeah, and they can tell by your enthusiasm and your excitement or whatever, your convictions, that what you say, that what you're saying, that you actually believe it, and you know that you're sticking to your guns and you've done your research. So
the thing you have to do, and this is what I did. I said, you know, I've got to reach people. I mean, what am I doing? Okay, I know from my training, I have to make a plan. I have to plan my work and work my plan. So what you have to do is set a goal. So the goal that I set was, I'm going to talk to at least one person a day about flat Earth. And this was pretty easy because I was going out every day, you know. So whenever I went to Wawa and got the coffee, and I'd always find somebody at the coffee counter. So I would say something there. And it ended up that I was doing a whole lot more than one person a day. I had to up my goal very quickly. It was just becoming so easy, and it was fun. And so I had to raise my goal, raise the stakes. But if you start out with a goal of one person a day, then you have like something to live up to. So everybody should do that. Do one thing of activism a day. Either it's dropping a card or talking to someone. Of course, with me, I went right to the talking to people. So it was, but I'm not like shy like that or anything.
Yeah,
so
we know that.
That's enough out of you. But yeah, so that's what you have to do. Set a goal and plan your work and work your plan. That's how you do it. So everybody can start somewhere. Okay? You know, it's been 2 hours. I wonder if we're, that's probably a good one.
Hour 53, yeah. I mean, if anyone has any final thoughts. I mean, I did want to, I guess we can go over this another time. How to develop a listening spirit. I kind of wrote out some stuff and wanted to maybe...
Oh, no, you flunked on that one today.
Share a video, what, with time?
You flunked on the listening spirit.
Oh, no, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I called you out earlier.
Oh, with the well, that's just because I was in the hospital. Nobody told me about no freaking oxygen chamber. I was like,
I know.
Okay, it sounds like a pretty crazy miracle if it's true. So I'll definitely look into it. But and who's that? I can't say for sure whether or not they're the ones that destroyed my kidneys. I don't know about that, but
I'll bet you.
I guess I could go over real quick. 5 characteristics of the listening spirit. Does anyone want to know?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, you got to be teachable. You got to be able, willing, and open to God for Him to teach you, what you need to know. You need to be attentive. Proverbs 4:20. Go over Proverbs 4:20 real quick. Proverbs 4:20. 4:20 to 22. Okay, it says, "My son, attend to my words, incline thine ear unto my sayings. Let them not depart from my eyes, keep them in the midst of thine heart. For they are life unto those that find them, and health to all their flesh." So yeah, you got to be attentive, guys. You got to be listening for the voice of God, the Holy Spirit in your life or whatever.
Yeah.
You got to concentrate on it. You got to meditate on the Word of God. Quiet meditation on the Word of God is always a good thing. And when I say meditate, I don't mean empty your mind, because that's that demonic meditation.
Yeah, that's not good.
No, we don't want to be emptying our minds and allowing other vessels or spirits to be coming in and influencing us or whatever.
And if they don't know this, that's why yoga is bad. That's what yoga teaches, and that's what's bad about yoga. It's not the exercise part that's bad. It's the emptying your mind. We are supposed to constantly have good things and God in our mind. So that's why it's bad.
Right. And it also, I don't know if you're aware of this, but also some of the positions are actually specific mudras for the body to honor certain Hindu false demonic gods as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, like the downward facing dog and all these other submissive positions that you have to put yourself in, where they're not very,
attractive.
Right, they're not very nice positions. I'll just put it that way. And if you've ever seen Eric Dubé's video on yoga or meditation that he did, you'll see this kind of the gruesome truth of yoga. So I'll just leave it at that. Let's just say that no, I'm not on board with this whole yoga and this whole Eastern mysticism thing. I used to be, when I was deceived by Satan. And yes, the devil is very real, guys. All you people out there, like, I just find it funny that, and I will never, ever back down from standing up for Jesus Christ and God, because he saved my life. Why? How would I not? How would I ever do that? How could I ever forsake my Lord and Savior and my God? Right. So I don't care if 5 people watch. I don't care if nobody promotes my channel. I don't care if you're not a Christian and you don't want to just ignore me or whatever. That's fine. Go ahead. But as far as I'm concerned, I will always stand behind God, because he saved my life and he saved my soul. And it's just that simple. And I don't care. And I won't back down from that. So also... Awesome. So not to segue into the next one, number 3, but have a humble spirit. Acknowledge your need to listen to God. So yes, if we are trusting in him and being righteous and passionate about him, that's fine. We're having a humble spirit because we need to listen to him. So Psalm 25:9 says, "He guides the humble in what is right and teaches them his way." So to you I lift up my soul. Good and upright is the Lord. Therefore he shows sinners the way. He guides the humble in what is right and teaches them his way. So for me, that was me, like, all lost and out there worshiping, studying alchemy and all this other nonsense, crudola, like yoga and Eastern mysticism and pantheism and pantheistic monism, and we are all God and we're all aspects of God, and the blades of grass are God, and this and that is God, and it's all nonsense, guys. There's only one God, and he's the creator of this whole flat earth that we live on. So wake up call. I don't know if you haven't heard about it. If you live on a flat earth, and here's another thing. God created it all, and he also created you, and he also sent his son, Jesus Christ, to die for our sins, because he knew that we would mess it up. We messed it up. We can't make it to heaven on our own, guys. We're all sinners. None of us can put on our pants 2 legs at a time. I don't know. I can't. Can you? Can you put your pants on 2 legs at a time? Can you heal yourself from a heart attack or disease? No. So, guys, We have to trust in the Lord. I lost like half of my viewers right now. I got 6 people watching because people just don't want to hear it. You know, they don't want to hear it, but it's okay because the good news about the gospel is that He meets sinners where we're at too. So it doesn't matter what you've done or where you know. It's just have faith and have an open mind and listen to the message of the gospel and honestly do some research like you did with Flat Earth.
Right.
Look into A Case for Christ by Lee Strobel. There's plenty of books out there on it. Secular scholars agree that Jesus was a real person, guys. So.
Yep. What's number 4?
Oh, number 4. Okay. Submissive. Obey God and do what is right, because we all have that little devil on our shoulders, right, guys? Even and it just comes down to the most simplest stuff. And we're going to look at Deuteronomy 11:13 through 21. And it shall come to pass, if ye shall hearken diligently unto my commandments, which I command you to this day, to love the Lord your God and serve Him with all your heart and with your soul, that I will give you the rain of your land in His due season, the first rain and the latter rain, that you may gather in your corn and your wine and your oil. So the Lord will bless us, guys, when we just follow His commandments and we just be good people and stay in the Word and work on ourselves. You know, nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm a sinner, we're all sinners, but we're actively seeking Him, and that's the difference.
Right.
Actively seeking righteousness and staying in His Word. And yes, we are under spiritual attack from time to time, but we have to fight back. We have to just punch the devil right back in the face and tell him no. I'm not gonna put up with that nonsense.
Number 5.
Okay, expective. You have to be expective. So that means anticipating. So you have to anticipate the gifts of the Spirit. Blessed are those who listen to me, watching daily at my doors, waiting at my doorway. So if we wait on the Lord and we are patient, He will provide for us. But we have to expect it. If we don't expect it and we're not like, you know what I mean, then what are we doing? So most important is to be vigilant. That's what I mean. Not like just anticipating, but be watchful of yourself and of others and your moods and your mindsets and all that. So, do you have something to add to that?
Well, that's the story of the bridesmaids who had oil. They didn't have oil in their lamps and they fell asleep, and the bridegroom came and they missed it. Yeah, you got to be looking and waiting on the Lord. That's a good one.
Right, and then stay active in prayer and then expect an answer to your prayer.
Right.
That's what that means.
Open your heart. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool.
I'm glad you felt like chiming in. you want to add a little more?
I was cooking dinner while I was listening, so I was like, yes. Good. Hey, man, I agree with everything you're saying. Yeah, I mean, like you're saying, everything you're saying, it just comes down to one. It's like it's our responsibility. Don't say that God hasn't come into your life because he hasn't come into my life yet. No, it's your responsibility. If you want a connection with the spiritual Creator, that is up to you. You have to ask for that. You have to put yourself in that position to be willing to accept that and receive that. And that's what I tell everybody. It's like, if you want to prove that it's real, ask, because you'll hear the answer. If you're open and you really want to know, and you're not closing yourself off, God responds to all of us in our own way. And some of us don't want to hear it, some of us don't want to be open to it, but you have to be open to it. And if you want that answer, it's out there. Like, I remember having a mental breakdown and demanding that God, help me and speak to me and let me know that it's real and give me a sign. And I got a lot more than just a sign. I got way more than just a sign. I had an entire almost 7 or 8 months of like crazy things happening in my life constantly. It was like a slap in the face. Like, here, you asked for it. You asked, here it is. And that's really, it's that simple. Like, if you're not open and if you're not putting that out there, if you're not communicating with God and telling him that you want to listen and you're there and you're ready to receive, you're not going to hear anything.
Yeah.
If you're telling yourself that God exists and he's not real,
you're going to miss
you're
it.
not going to experience God. You're not even going to know that it's real. It's like you're going to shut yourself down before you even get there. And unless you're willing to, be open and allow yourself to be affected by God, then God, he's not going to waste his time with people who don't want him. You know what I'm saying? Who don't want the understanding, the love, the compassion. Like people who are all in their head or whatever, that's what God is against. So, if they're like, why hasn't God come into my life? Well, you create conditions that are not nice for God to be there. You create a situation where how is God going to come into your life when you're constantly debasing yourself and telling, screaming how much you hate God and how much you can't stand? How is God going to affect your life? How is that going to happen when you're demanding evil to affect your life? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
it's just so crazy how people can just be so deniable.
He stands at the door and knocks, but we have to open the door.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, our cups
so
are
many
full.
people say, "Oh, I've never felt God. I've never," Yeah, we know why you haven't felt God, because you don't want to feel God, because that would mean that everything in your world has to come crashing down, and that's a really tough thing for some people.
That's a very fearful thing to some people, but they don't understand that once God is in your heart, he changes your heart, and you actually want to get rid of all that crap.
Right, you start desiring righteousness. Absolutely.
Yeah. Your inner desires change, your perspective changes, your heart, your love, your compassion, all that changes. So you have to be willing.
Tim,
amen.
I think what you ought to do is I have something to say after we get offline. So let's not hang up, but can you just go offline, and then that's how we end this, and then we'll stay on.
Yeah, you want me to end the stream? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and then we'll stay on for just a second and say goodbye offline.
Okay, yeah, because we've been on for 2 hours and 7 minutes now. So
yeah.
Thanks everyone for joining us, guys, in the chat.
Yes, thank you everyone.
You guys just really want to give a shout and a plug and a promote real quick before we call it night?
Maryland's Spirit Level is my channel.
Awesome channel. And mine's Realm Walker on YouTube.
And Flat Earth Boxer was on. He's somewhere else now. I don't know where he's at.
I think he had to go eat dinner or something, he said.
Okay.
Yep. So, all right, that's it for tonight, guys. And remember to stay strong, put on the full armor of God, and trust in the Lord, and get your butts out there and start doing some flat smacking.
Amen.
It's not that hard, guys. Once you start, you'll be on fire. So,
that's right.
I just pray everyone go to flatearth101.com, get yourself some stickers. You can get a book of stickers for $5. You can get business cards for $20. You can get 500 business cards. There's so much on that website you can get as far as activism tools, and you can get cool T-shirts and Flat Earth, T-shirts and mugs, all that. Yeah.
I know for a fact that Dave's not getting rich off of that.
No.
He literally gives away so much stuff. It's hard to believe he even pulls a profit, because
and we don't, guys. We don't make a dime or a cent for pushing FlatEarth101.com. We're not partners in this. Yeah. We're just pushing it because that's where we got our activism from, and that's how we got out there and started doing it. So.
Yep.
Exactly. I'm more than happy to promote it because it's helping so many people, and that's what it's for.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, Mario. Get your butt out there on the streets, Mario, peak level 1, and start doing some flat smacking, brother.
Thank you, everyone.
You, buddy. Okay, guys.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Love y'all. Good night.
All right, guys.